Everyone's admitted, Stephanie, and I can keep admitting everyone. If you want to go ahead and start,
Okay.
you're okay to do so.
Yeah, I'm just looking through. Wanted to give, I know that some teachers are joining, so I was going to give them about another minute for everybody to get on. Hello, families. Hello, teachers. Good to see everybody. Feel like I'm in the days of old COVID where I don't see any faces, but there's a lot of people here. And so we're going to begin in about 30 seconds. Just waiting for everybody to get on. Welcome. If you are here for the 5th grade outdoor educational experience meeting, then you are in the right place. And my name is Stephanie Bray. I am the principal here at Franklin Elementary. Also on with us helping being our Zoom host and recording this meeting is Courtney Hodge. You'll also notice some of our teachers and other administrators will probably be joining soon. And so this meeting, it's scheduled for an hour. It typically does not last that long. We're going to go through the slideshow, and at the end, we will go ahead and answer questions. And as you enter in questions in the chat, please don't think that we're ignoring you. We might just wait to the end to answer those. Okay, Courtney, are we good? And I can begin?
Yep, you're all set.
Okay, so welcome everybody. This is kind of our parent orientation or family orientation, I should say. And so we'll go through some introductions, kind of what our goals of the program are. Oh, the overview, important dates, and kind of what Camp Wooten is, a little bit about day camp. And then we also have some commonly asked questions, kind of a guide on our website. So if you think about a question later, you can always check out that spot as well. And for our purpose, right? And I'll let you go ahead and read that. A lot of what our kiddos will be going through will be next generation science standards, as well as environmental, and sustainability learning standards throughout their time. And students will have the ability to do that whether they go to day camp or away camp at Camp Wooten. So those opportunities and those standards are going to be aligned through both. And our principles to develop, and I'm going to move my eyes over here because that's where the screen is. Develop social skills for necessary effective participation, the understanding from safe risk taking, with emphasis on safe risk taking that comes with personal growth and strengthening self-esteem and confidence. Productively participate in learning situations unique to an outdoor setting. Gain an appreciation of one's interdependence with the environment through experiencing the beauty and complexity of nature, and develop an environmental conscience throughout their learning and having responsible stewardship. And here is our team. So we have, hello, myself, principal at Franklin. We have Jim, Bruce, Evan Hecker, and Pam Brentner, principals. We also have Kelsey Winningham and Cheyenne Weber, our assistant principals, shared between the 4 elementaries. Michelle Hyatt, our district nurse, and Jesse Campbell, our nutrition services supervisor. And we also have an amazing team of educators that are partnering throughout this experience, both for day camp and away camp. We have Crystal Adams and Shelby Sandvik, Santana Rule, Jamie By and Anthony Haynes, Julie LePay, Haley Gray, and Megan McKiernan, Abby Wagner, and Emily Poston. And they are representatives from all of our elementaries. And so here's kind of the format that we'll be going through for our camp this year. So in district, this is all students, Monday, May 6th and May 7th. And those are going to be whether or not your family has chosen day camp or away camp. All of our students will participate in the first 2 days. And then on Wednesday, Thursday, Friday, that's going to be the overnight away camp. And that's going to be at Camp Wooten. Students will be leaving the schools on Wednesday, staying up Wednesday night, staying Thursday night, and then coming back on Friday. And for the students who are not going to Camp Wooten, they're still going to be having outdoor experiences throughout our community. The only difference is that they'll come to school like at regular time and leave school at regular time. The cost is $50 per student. That covers all the food, the lodging, insurance, all of that. It is cash or check. If you need financial assistance or if that's something that you would like to know more about, please reach out to your child's teacher or school principal and we can support you through that. And so you are here on our journey of important dates. All forms are due April 19th. And if you are wondering what the forms look like, they are in this beautiful packet in this bright form. So these are the forms, and then I'll go through the forms a little bit later in more detail. But if you are wondering where those forms are, that is where they are. May 6th, we begin. Then that is for all of our in-district times with everybody. May 8th through the 10th are our day camp and away camp. And around 1 or 2, WSU parking lot will be our meeting location to pick up students on Friday from day camp. Also on May 6th, from 4:30 to 5:30. And that is kind of when it begins. On that Monday, no matter where your child attends, you will come between 4:30 and 5:30, bringing your students' bags, and we'll get more into that detail, for loading up into the U-Haul. So that is their overnight materials, their clothing, all of that will go in a bag, and we'll go into more detail later. But that is for every student in all of Pullman, and that's where the location will be for those students and families who are choosing overnight camp. Here is Camp Wooten. We have a couple of pictures there. So there are cabins and tents. Right now with our numbers, I don't think that we're going to be needing any tents this year. We're a little bit less on our 5th grade numbers this year. And then teachers, they will be assigning students to their cabins, and their cabins will have a mix of not only students from your child's school, but students from other elementary schools as well. And we have a central kitchen and a dining hall, as well as medical facility. 2 large grassy areas for recreation, trails, a really nice, fun campfire setting, and as well as different shower facilities for boys and girls that are really close to the cabin areas. There's no bathrooms or showers in the cabin specifically. It's a different location, but they are separated. And for meal preparations, it's not possible to have parent or family member helpers overnight. But during the day, if you are interested, we could really use the volunteer help, especially for our kitchen loading and unloading. Oh, let me go back. Boop, sorry. Down here at the bottom, your child may have a phone. We recommend children, even my phone doesn't work up there. So cell phones typically have no reception or very limited. And so if there's an emergency, here's our contact number for camp, and we'll be sharing that a lot, but that is if there is an emergency, that is the best way to reach your child's teacher or your child. And here's a sample daily schedule for overnight camp. The kiddos do get up very early. Breakfast begins, we start morning classes, and they are on a rotation basis. Excuse me, then we have lunch all together again, followed by afternoon classes, dinner in the cabins, there's some cabin time, campfire, and lights out. So kids are kept very busy throughout the day. It's a very fun day. And on Friday, if you're choosing overnight, you will have a lot of tired kiddos coming back home to you. And here's kind of some pictures from our dining. Let me go in order. So there's our campfire at the top. Then that is where students meet. That's that big grassy area. It's right in front of the dining hall, and students meet. They meet in their cabin groups or activity groups. And then we have our student cabins. That's kind of what one looks like, our dining hall, and then outdoor recreation spaces. Around the student cabins, it's big arrows are pointing there. Please make sure that all of your belongings are labeled. The amount of socks and underwear and random toothbrushes that we find are all over the place. So making sure that your students' belongings are labeled is a very important activity. We always have a lot of lost and found too. And here are some of the activities that students will be participating. These are some, not all of the activities. Camp Wooten does have a swimming pool, and in order for us to use the swimming pool, we do need to have a lifeguard on duty, as well as the pool to be up and running. It's kind of been out of commission for a couple of years, so we're hoping that it's ready to go and that we have a lifeguard. We have some fun activities for kids by the campfire. There is canoeing as well as archery. They have tennis courts, and students participate. Also some free time there for kids. And that's that same meeting area. Again, all forms, you might see this a few times, by April 19th, April 19th, April 19th. We'll kind of go ahead and go through what the different forms are. And after this presentation, this will also be sent out. So there'll be a link here to also view the camp forms. And this is the dietary needs form. So this one is yellow in your packet. And around your food allergies, this isn't necessarily a form to say, I don't like onions or my child doesn't like mushrooms. This form is mainly for food allergies or specific diet requirements. And so there's a regular option 1, which is just regular eating. Option 2 is our vegetarian, and then option 3 is our gluten-free. And that, when you check that, and that form gets turned in, Jessie Campbell, our nutrition service director, may be reaching out to you. And here's kind of what the menu will be. Note that there could always be some minor changes. On Wednesday, there's a breakfast for the staff that are already going to be up there. Students will be driving up during this time. And then we have students, they will all be getting a sack lunch. And then dinner, you could see here, we have hamburger, garden burger. On Thursday, they have breakfast in the dining hall, followed by lunch and dinner. And then on Friday for our breakfast, it's going to be similar to a continental breakfast. So some grab and go options. We have kiddos cleaning cabins here and there, and then as well as grab and go lunch for students for the way home from Camp Wooten. Throughout the day, there are also lots of snacks available to students, and those range in variety, and that's down here at the bottom. There are s'mores during the campfire, and there is a gluten-free option or gelatin-free option as well for our marshmallows. All right, next we have our green form. And so right here, this is your consent form, and you'll initial each box here. And then I understand phone access will be for adult emergency only. My child has permission to participate in the in the pond canoeing activity with a life jacket, as well as they are supervised at all times in the pond as well. Indoor pool, ability to use the indoor pool with a lifeguard, and that there's a possibility that I may be asked to pick up my child. If there's extreme homesickness, persistent illness, or a disciplinary removal from camp. And we'll go into more of that later. Then we have our next form, which is pink. This is kind of their health information form, so that if something were to happen at camp and we can't get a hold of you, it really helps us to know who to contact with phone service and really no Wi-Fi. Up there, having these paper forms are extremely important for us to have. So please make sure that this form is filled out in full. And don't forget the back side. The back side also has insurance company, policyholder names, just in case there's an emergency that does happen. As well as you might think that you already filled out the food allergy one, just having it checked here is very helpful as well. Not necessarily sensitive to insect bites or stings, but allergic to. And then around for the medication form, we'll get into that in just a minute. And here's the medication form. So any medication that is brought, whether it is Claritin allergy pill to an EpiPen, asthma inhaler, any medication that your child is bringing or is brought to camp for your child, we'll need the name, the dosage, and the comments. And then here we have to seek medical treatment. If something were to happen that's a high emergency and then your child needs more advanced medical care than our nurse on site, for example, something broke, or it gives us consent to seek out medical treatment. And then here we do require that any prescription or over the counter requires a physician's note. That means Tylenol. So if you want your child to take Tylenol or take a Claritin allergy pill, those also need a note from your physician for your child to be able to take those medications. That is new, I believe it was last year or the year before, but new state law. And along with that form, there's also an oral medication at school authorization. So again, that's that name of the medication. Don't forget, you need a doctor's note for any type of medicine for your child. And then this is a form for the physician to fill out. And our parks waiver. So this is a waiver for archery. If you look up at the top, so students will be participating as one of their activities or their rotations in archery. And so this is a waiver. Archery is always supervised and the person supervising has been trained. And students will be participating. It is very safe. It's not around a bunch of people. But this is the waiver, so your students participate in that rotation. And for our personal supplies, we do have a what to take checklist, and it provides you with all the necessary items needed. And so what will happen is your child will bring a bag, whether that's a duffel bag or a suitcase. What we will be doing is we will be taking that bag and having different colored duct tape for each elementary school and writing your child's name and big letters on that duct tape when you bring your bag, or when you bring your child's bag on that Monday, May 6th to the U-Haul. Again, please do not pack medicine. Any medicine, whether it's Advil or an EpiPen, needs to go to our school nurse with a doctor's note. And any gear, we ask that you put it in a big garbage sack. And then we'll take care of the taping. If you forget to put your suitcase or your canvas bag or duffel bag in a plastic garbage sack, don't worry, we'll have extra. But that way, in case it rains or water spills, all of your child's packing materials won't get wet. Please don't have your child bring expensive watches, jewelry, nail polish, anything super smelly, candy, gum, food. There are animals out there, so having any food in the cabins isn't a great idea. And also electronic devices. We ask that children don't bring those. Cameras are okay, absolutely. And then, but it cannot be a phone or gaming. Oh, my lights went out. It cannot be a phone or a gaming device. So if it is a camera, if it's a phone, it won't be used as a camera. So they still exist, the little disposable cameras, or a small digital camera is okay. There'll also be lots of pictures captured by our staff throughout the week of camp that we will be sharing as well. So if no camera, that's okay. Here's our volunteer information. We do need volunteers. Our volunteers help us unload U-Hauls, load U-Hauls up at Camp Wooten, as well as helping in the kitchen. And then we'll be having that sent on April 3rd at 7 a.m. So you'll get a link, and please sign up for a day and time if you are able to. And after everybody signed up, more information will be coming to those who signed up for the paperwork to fill out for that. Okay, picking up procedures. So students who are going to overnight camp on Friday, they'll get back on the buses with all of their items, and we will meet you all between 1 and 2. You'll get a text message via Parent Square when we are getting close. And we're going to be at the tennis court parking lot. There is a map in your packet, and that is where you will pick up your child. And there's a little map, because the gray portion, you might not know what that is. And they'll need to be picked up at the time of arrival. Last year we did have some families that were a little bit late, no big deal. And so if you are unable to, or maybe miss the drop-off time, that's okay. Your child will be transported back to their home school, and you can pick them up at school. And here's what I like. I'm a picture person. So this is what the tennis parking lot looks like up at WSU. Okay, so that's kind of our camp experience. And I'm going to look at the chat. Oh, just some things about audio. I don't see any other questions. So at this time, if you'd like to enter in a question via chat, or if you would like to I don't know if I can see everybody, raise your hand or just unmute. And thank you for the reminder. Anything that connects to the internet, it won't be allowed at camp. And if we have it at camp, it will go in a safe place, and we will return it after camp. So thank you for that reminder. All right. Can medication already at school be brought up to camp, like an EpiPen? Great question. So you'll still fill out that form for camp, even though we have one at school, and the nurse will take the EpiPen that's already at the school and take it up with her. You don't need to provide an extra EpiPen, but the form still does need to be filled out. Pickup location. If a student rides the bus home, will their belongings be with them? Am I assuming on Friday? Yes.
Yes. Yeah, the
Okay.
Friday.
Yes. Yes, their belongings will go with them.
Okay, so if she goes back to the school, she'll have her stuff?
Yep, and so she'll take her stuff, everything will be unloaded. And instead of, for example, getting in a car, she'll go back on the bus with all of her items and go back to her home school.
Okay,
And then she can ride the bus home from there.
perfect. And one more about the emergency contact. It says, other than a parent, we are the only family she has in this state. So,
So it could be, so same here. I'm in the same boat as you. So it could be a friend, a family friend that you're close with. It doesn't necessarily have to be a relative.
okay, yeah, we don't have any. And I'm a stay-at-home mom, so I'm home all the time. So should I just put my name?
It could be, I would maybe say putting the school secretary, just in case you're not reachable, somebody is reachable, and can maybe contact your emergency contacts, even if they are out of state.
Okay, all right, perfect.
Oh, and you have some people in the chat. It says, same here, we could form a club. That's a great idea. Are there any other questions? Oh, can you please mention the dates and time for drop off and pick up for the kiddos? Yes, let me go back here. And for that person, my question is, are you talking about day camp or away camp? Oh, both please. Got it. And so let's go to day camp first. So if your child and your family are choosing not to go to overnight camp at Camp Wooten, it's a typical school day. So you'll drop your child off at school and there will be a day camp teacher and there's a bus that picks up all the kids from the other elementaries. They'll meet at one location. They will go on an adventure throughout the day and do lessons throughout the day. Then the bus will pick them up, drop them off at their home school again, and they can do regular pickup, whether your child rides the bus or you pick up or they walk or whatever. So if you're doing day camp, typical. Every day is like a school day except for put on some sunscreen because they will be out and about in the community on Wednesday, Thursday, Friday. And for our away camp, they will be leaving Wednesday morning. So on Wednesday morning, you'll bring your child to school as normal. They won't have a lot of stuff with them because they've already loaded up their gear on the 6th into the U-Haul. So they'll typically have kind of their tie-dye shirts on. They might have a small backpack with them, but they won't have a lot of things to bring. So on Wednesday, you'll drop them off. And then after the buses have dropped off everybody at the other schools, buses will come back. We'll load up the buses with our 5th graders and we'll be off to Camp Wooten. And then on Friday, the pickup for students who are attending Camp Wooten, that's between 1 and 2 at the tennis courts. There is a time frame between 1 and 2 because you never know. You can't give a specific time, but if your child is attending Camp Wooten, you'll get a text update of when we are close. And how does it affect? Okay, I think I covered that for the if they don't go to overnight. Luggage drop off is May 6th, and that is at Franklin. And are they allowed to have a phone on the day camp? We asked just that day camp is treated really similar to how a school day works. And we ask that students aren't on phones during the school day. So it would be requested that, hey, just leave your phone at home. You don't need it. Now, I do understand that some students have phones for medical reasons. Obviously, that's an exception, of course. But we would ask, similar to technology used throughout the school day in the classroom, that students don't bring their phone with them. Okay, sorry, I'm scrolling down. Yes, links to the presentation. At which area would they be at day camp? So for our day camp, they would be on field trips throughout the community. And so there's sometimes that they'll go down to the city playfields and do an activity, Chipman Trail. So they'll be out in locations around the community. Right now, there isn't necessarily a set location. I can share last year where they went. If you hold on, I can answer other questions and then I can share where they went last year. If they're homesick, are they allowed to talk to mom and dad? So for homesickness, for extreme homesickness, we may call you to come and pick them up. Typically, all of our counselors are amazing, as well as our teachers and staff. And we typically try to support students in not calling family. It is hard for some. I will say, just based on my experience, and teachers, please chime in here. There's some concern about homesickness, or kids start to get a little homesick. But as soon as we get up there, their days are so full from 7:30 until 10 o'clock at night that they typically don't have time. And then at night is typically when we experience if a kid is having trouble at night. And if needed, our counselors will come and find the administrator or our nurse on site and kind of work through the problem and talk with the kiddo. For general homesickness, not typically. If I allowed my child to swim at the indoor pool, but the child doesn't want to participate, is that okay? Yes, we would not force a child in the pool. If it's their pool time, it's quite a big indoor kind of area that has the pool inside an indoor area, so they might just be on the outer edges. They don't have to go into the pool. Someone sent a direct message that said, do they need a note from their doctor to apply sunscreen? No. So they don't need a note from their doctor to apply sunscreen. Oh, I think that's good. Are they required to go to the pool with their cabin so that they are supervised, but they are not required to go in the, oh, that was an answer, sorry. And then let's see, May 6th. Sorry, I'm scrolling down to see more questions. That's about 90 minutes. Yes. Okay. I don't see any more questions at all. If you weren't able to access chat, you can also unmute and ask a question if you have one. Okay. I'm going to stop sharing my screen. There we go. And then I saw, I'm trying to look, now I closed my screen and I don't see all the face names anymore. Teachers, I'm gonna look up our camp schedule of day camp last year, but if you remember off the top of your heads, what are some of the other locations that students went to during day camp? If you remember off the top of your head. If not, oh, another one. Oh, so the packets, a lot of staff handed out packets during parent-teacher conferences. So if you haven't received, oh, thank you, Megan. Clemgard Park, Ferdinand, yep, and then Chipman Trail. So I forgot Clemgard and Ferdinand. And so this packet you should be getting, and if you don't have one yet and don't receive one tomorrow, I would say contact your child's teacher. On Friday, one thing that's not mentioned in our PowerPoint, on Friday, let's see here, May 3rd, on Friday, May 3rd, all of our fifth graders do get together to meet their counselor. They get together to meet other fifth graders or say hi to some other fifth graders at different schools that they know. We walk to, oh, sorry, Franklin walks there, but other schools will take a small field trip for a very short amount of time on Friday afternoon. And students will get to meet the people that are in their cabin, and students will also get to meet their counselor for their cabin. So though we don't start our excursions and all of our trips until Monday, coming on Friday before camp is also really important. It also gives our students who are attending day camp time to get to meet other students who are day camp, as well as the staff member who is supervising and taking students on day camp excursions. So try May 3rd is also an important date to have your child attend school on May 3rd. Okay. Yeah. Let me grab this form again. This form is due March 21st. That is Thursday. So you don't have to have all of your forms and everything in this Thursday, but this form is due Thursday. The reason why this form is due before all the other forms, this tells us how many staff and counselors we need. It tells us the food estimation, as well as the U-Hauls, the number of buses, the cost for bus drivers and supervision on the buses. This form is extremely important for us to plan, not only for logistics, but also plan for our cabins. There's cabin placement meetings that all of our teachers participate in throughout the district to put kids into cabins from different schools. So this form is needed from each of our families to let us know who's doing day camp, who's doing away camp. Again, that is due by this Thursday.
Mrs. Bray, just so everybody knows, schools copy those individually, so they're not all that color.
Oh, thank you. You might have a different color, but it looks like this. Thank you, Julie. So, and it says here, they will attend day camp. Locally in Pullman, they will attend overnight camp. And then here, selections cannot be changed without extenuating circumstances. We know family emergencies happen. We know things change where you were going to overnight camp and something happened that it's no longer available, or the family's not able to have their student at overnight camp and needs to do day camp. We understand emergencies or extenuating circumstances, but we do require that this form is in by Thursday. And if it's not in by Thursday, you might be hearing from your child's teacher. And for, yep, and I think I said this, Megan, but I'll reiterate too. Oh, thank you. Oh, it says to everybody. Yeah, so a cabin might have 2 students from Franklin, 2 from Kamiak, 2 from Jefferson, 2 from Sunnyside. Students will not necessarily be placed with their bestie or their best friend. All of our teachers are extremely knowledgeable and have really great reads on your kiddos as well, to see personalities that might go really well together, but also personalities that may be a challenge. So every single year they make the cabin placements, and they do a really phenomenal job at that. So we do leave that in their hands. Mm. Okay. If you don't have a question and you are good to go, you may go ahead and leave the meeting. Appreciate you so much for being here. If you'd like to stay on because you have another question, we can stay on for a little bit longer, or another question in the chat. Appreciate everyone coming. Fifth grade camp is a tradition in Pullman, as well as many districts in Washington, that has been around for a very long time, and though it's evolved and changed, the location is wonderful. And it's just been a great experience, not only for our students, but as well as our staff members. And kids have so much fun up at Camp Wooten. And we understand that Camp Wooten isn't the best possibility for all of our families. So with the start of day camp option as well, our students still have the ability to engage in some of those standards and have fun in our community. Okay. All right, thank you. You are all welcome. Thank you to our teachers as well for coming, and thank you to Courtney for hosting this. And we will make sure that this is available. And yes, Dr. Sam, the financial assistance was, let me bring it back up, was mentioned at the beginning. Let me bring that back up. Just a moment. Let me scroll.
Stephanie, they can just contact either the school, the school office or their teacher.
Yes, and so it's right here. And it is cash or check. And then also you can make it online the same way that you make a lunch payment. That's available on Skyward. But it is available. And if you're not comfortable calling and talking to somebody, you can always email your child's teacher, principal, vice principal, secretary, and we can support in that. Thank you, Julie, and thank you, Dr. Sam. Okay. I'll bring up chat to see if there's any more. Yes, you're welcome. Okay, everybody. Well, this concludes our outdoor educational experience family information. We appreciate you coming. Have a great rest of your night, and we are excited to support all of your kiddos learning, whether at day camp or away camp, in outdoor education and sustainability standards. Have a wonderful night. Mhm.